I never expected that a single night, one sacred evening on Yom Kippur, would change everything I believed in. For over 4 decades, I served as a rabbi, a scholar of the Torah, a voice respected in the Jewish community. I was firm in my convictions, grounded in tradition, and fiercely protective of our heritage. But what I experienced during those 17 minutes between life and death shattered every certainty I held. This isn't just a testimony. This is a final call, a plea to my people, and perhaps a bridge for those standing at the edge of belief and truth. There was no warning, no voice from heaven before it all happened, just the deep, sacred silence of the synagogue as I stood before the ark, wrapped in my tallit, preparing to chant the ancient melody of Kol Nidre. And then, time itself fractured. Pain struck me with such ferocity that I thought it was the end. And it was, in a way. That moment marked the end of who I had been, and the beginning of something I never imagined I would face. The experience that followed would defy logic, challenge tradition, and redefine everything I thought I understood about the Messiah. Now I know many of you may listen with skepticism. Some will be outraged. Others might mock me, as they already have. But if you hear nothing else, hear this. What I saw, what I lived, cannot be ignored. It comes with a warning, a set of revelations tied to the days we're now living. I speak not to seek attention, but because staying silent would make me complicit in what is to come. My story isn't about persuading you. It's about awakening something inside you that already knows this moment was foretold. In the coming minutes, I will share everything, every word, every vision, every encounter. I have nothing left to lose, and that gives me freedom, the freedom to speak truth without filter. What happened to me was not a hallucination. It was a divine confrontation, and it brought with it a message of urgency, one that you need to hear before time runs out. My name is Rabbi David Cohen, and this is my last public message. I was standing before the ark, draped in my tallit, heart full of reverence as the congregation behind me waited in sacred silence. It was Yom Kippur, the holiest night in our tradition. I had recited Kol Nidre every year for decades, but something felt different this time, something I couldn't place, a stillness deeper than usual. As I prepared to speak, a sudden searing pain tore through my chest. I gripped the podium, my knees buckling, my breath fading. I remember looking out and seeing the panic in their eyes, but I couldn't speak. Time slowed, the world blurred, and then everything went dark. I didn't realize it then, but I had died. Medically, I was gone for 17 minutes. But what I experienced during those moments was more vivid than anything I had ever lived. When I opened my eyes, my spiritual eyes, I was no longer in the synagogue. I was outside time, outside space, floating in a realm of awareness unlike anything I had studied in the Kabbalah. A tunnel stretched before me, but it wasn't physical. It was a current of truth pulling me forward. I heard a sound like a shofar, but not one crafted by hands. It resonated not in my ears, but in my soul. Around me there were presences, beings of light, ancient and vast, whom I instinctively knew were not angels as I had imagined. They were watchers, sentinels of divine order, and they didn't speak, but their presence guided me toward something or someone. I moved forward, not walking, not flying, but simply being drawn. I had studied these concepts. I had lectured on the afterlife, but no doctrine prepared me for this. The Kabbalistic texts were only shadows of this reality. The watchers led me into what I can only describe as a valley, not of earth or rock, but of memory and judgment. It pulsed with a gravity that made every thought heavy, every truth undeniable. I saw figures, some I recognized from books and portraits, great sages of our people, men whose writings shaped my theology. They were not as I had imagined. Some looked burdened, others illuminated, but each one carried the mark of revelation. One approached me. It was Rabbi Kaduri, a man I had met in life briefly before his passing. He looked into me, not at me, and said words that shattered me. We taught in part. We led blindly, though the truth was always before us. I felt as if the breath had been knocked out of me. Everything I had defended, debated, denounced, it was trembling inside me now, fragile. Others came forward. Rabbis I had revered, whose books I had assigned to my students, whose names we spoke with reverence in the yeshiva. And yet, They too bore the weight of realization. They spoke of misinterpretations, of truths overlooked or suppressed. I saw the face of my grandfather, who had died in Auschwitz, a man who refused any mention of Yeshua, even as a concept. He looked at me now with tears in his eyes and said, "David, we were wrong. The words were there. The prophets spoke plainly, but we did not want to see." He began to recite Isaiah 53, not with bitterness, but with clarity. And as he spoke, the words lifted from his mouth and lit the air like fire. They burned away confusion. They burned away pride. And they left me stripped of everything I thought I knew. Then came the moment that changed me forever. The valley darkened. The watchers knelt. A light brighter than any sun descended, not blinding, but revealing. I saw a figure approach, robed in glory, eyes like fire, hair like wool, bearing wounds I could not look away from. My mind screamed in protest. Everything I had taught, every argument I had made, every book I had written, it rose like a wall between me and what I was seeing. But my soul knew. My soul had always known. This was Yeshua, not a Christian invention, not a foreign god. This was the one foretold by Moses, by Isaiah, by Daniel. This was the cornerstone we had rejected, and I was undone. I fell to my knees, and the weight of our people's blindness crushed me. I wept, not just for myself, but for all we had lost in denying him. He spoke my name, not in accusation, but in love. He said, "David, son of Joseph, I have waited." And with those words, I understood why the name had been veiled, why the truth had been resisted. It was not ignorance. It was fear. Fear of what it would mean for our identity, our tradition, our control. But he offered no condemnation, only a plea. "Tell them. The time is short." I wanted to stay, to be absorbed in that light forever. But he showed me what was coming. 3 visions, clear and terrifying. And he said, they must choose. Before the end of 2025, I saw what would unfold, and I knew I had to return. I didn't want to, but silence would be a betrayal. When I returned to my body, the pain was excruciating. My lungs gasped, my heart thundered back to life. Paramedics hovered, stunned that I was conscious. One whispered, "Nes Gadol," a great miracle. But my mind was not on the miracle. It was on the message. I had seen the future. I had seen the deception coming. I had seen the false peace, the false Messiah, the digital snare disguised as progress. And I knew I had to speak, even if it cost me everything. And it did. My wife left me. My children disowned me. My books were pulled from the shelves. But I do not regret a word. I was dead. And now I live, to testify. The first vision he showed me centered on a place we all hold sacred, the Temple Mount. But it was not as it is today. I saw people gathered around a site, their faces filled with awe and confusion. Something had been discovered beneath the foundation. Something ancient, something hidden. I was not allowed to see exactly what it was, only the ripple it caused. I saw religious leaders from both Judaism and Islam shaken to their core. I saw news reports flooding the world, debates erupting, declarations of peace emerging as if a long-awaited breakthrough had finally arrived. But behind the celebration, I sensed a trap. Yeshua said to me, "This will be the beginning of the illusion." And I understood. It would seem like unity, but it would only serve to prepare the world for a counterfeit. Then he showed me the second vision. A man rose to prominence, charismatic, wise, seemingly holy. He spoke with knowledge of our scriptures, performed wonders that silenced critics, united sects that had warred for decades. Rabbis, even those I once stood beside, proclaimed him a fulfillment of the messianic hope. I watched as synagogues filled with his image, as songs were written in his name. But everything in me recoiled. Yeshua turned to me and said, "This is not of my spirit." And he showed me the heart of this man, a void of truth, a master of deception. I wept because I knew our people, desperate for redemption, would follow him, and in doing so, would walk into the very arms of their destroyer. The third vision was the most terrifying. It began as progress, new technology emerging from Israel, a digital system, sleek and efficient, promising to unify identity, medical access, financial security. even religious participation. It was presented as a way to preserve Jewish identity in a modern world. Leaders endorsed it. Communities welcomed it. At first it was optional. Then, it became required. Those who resisted were labeled extremists. Access to synagogues, to kosher markets, even to the Western Wall, was denied. The digital ID became the gateway to communal life. But Yeshua whispered to me, "This is not of the Father. It is the seal of exile." And I understood. The price of convenience would be eternal separation. He did not leave me with fear. He gave me hope, a flicker in the darkness. I saw small gatherings, Jews of all ages meeting in homes, not temples, studying the prophets with new eyes, young men and women asking questions they had been forbidden to ask. I saw Isaiah 53 read aloud without commentary. I saw tears. I saw revelation. These weren't Christians. They were still fully Jewish, but something inside them had awakened. The veil was being lifted. Some lost everything for this awakening, families, jobs, reputations, but they gained truth. And Yeshua said to me, "These are the first fruits. Speak to them. Encourage them. They are my remnant." When I awoke in the hospital, I carried this weight, not of guilt, but of purpose. I tried to tell my wife. Her eyes filled with sorrow. She didn't say anything, just packed a bag and left. My sons refused to see me. My name was stripped from rabbinical directories. Former students blocked my number. I became a pariah in the very community I had once led. But none of that compared to the silence of God I felt in those early days back. I begged for another vision, for more confirmation. But Yeshua had already spoken. Tell them. That was the command. Not argue, not convince, not convert. Tell. And so I began, even when no one listened. I spoke first to my old congregation. They laughed. Some cried. One man called me a traitor. Another said I had been brainwashed. I expected that. What I didn't expect was how few even opened their Bibles. How many had never read Isaiah 53 on their own? How many had never questioned the traditional commentary? We talk of study, of debate, but we are afraid of where true inquiry might lead. I told them about the 3 signs that would confirm this message. A discovery under the Temple Mount, a rabbi decoding messianic hints in the Torah, and supernatural events at the Western Wall. I asked only one thing. When these signs come, remember what I said. Don't ignore them. Don't excuse them. Ask, seek, question. That's all I ask. And now, I speak to you. You who are watching this. You may not know me. You may doubt every word I've said. That's okay. Doubt is not the enemy. Silence is. Apathy is. Blind tradition is. I beg you, read the scriptures yourself, not with a teacher over your shoulder. Alone, with a heart willing to see what may cost you everything. Ask the God of Abraham to reveal the truth about Yeshua. That's all. Just ask. If he's not the Messiah, the text will betray itself. But if he is, your soul already knows it. You feel it. The stirring, the trembling. That's not manipulation. That's the ancient cry of a people waking up. And the time is short. I know what it means to risk everything for a truth you never wanted. I didn't ask for this vision. I didn't seek to leave behind the life I built. I loved my role. I loved my people. I loved the security that came with being respected, established, untouchable. But when truth comes in the form of fire, you don't get to walk away untouched. You either run from it or let it refine you. And I chose the fire, not because I'm brave, but because I saw the cost of silence. I saw what will happen if we don't speak, if we don't warn, if we don't love our people enough to shake them awake. This isn't about abandoning Judaism. It's about fulfilling it. It's about finally seeing what the prophets were pointing to all along. Not replacement, revelation. I've watched families divide over this. Fathers disowning sons, daughters hiding their new beliefs, communities splintering. But I've also seen something beautiful rise from the ashes. Authenticity. A generation no longer satisfied with rote prayers and inherited answers. They want to know. And once you taste that hunger for truth, nothing else satisfies. I've seen young men, raised in yeshivot, tearfully admit they never understood Isaiah 53 until they read it in solitude. I've seen old women whisper the name Yeshua with trembling lips, afraid yet relieved. I've seen rabbis wrestle in secret, afraid to lose everything, yet unable to unsee what's been revealed. And in all of it, I see echoes of the prophets, a remnant, a return, a reawakening. You see, this was never about Christianity versus Judaism. That's a false war. The real battle is truth versus tradition, spirit versus system. When Yeshua appeared to me, he didn't demand conversion. He invited recognition. He didn't tear down Torah. He fulfilled it, perfectly, elegantly, completely. And he reminded me that everything Moses, David, Isaiah, Daniel, and Zechariah wrote was always pointing forward, not to a stranger, but to our own. He is the Lion of Judah, the root of Jesse, the one pierced for our transgressions. We rejected him, but he has not rejected us. He waits, still, and the choice remains ours. The danger is not only in the deception that is coming, but in the deception that is already here. We have learned to call light darkness and darkness light. We have praised skepticism while silencing curiosity. We have idolized rabbis while ignoring the raw voice of Scripture. We accuse others of blind faith, yet we've walked for centuries with blindfolds fashioned by commentary. That doesn't mean our forefathers were evil. It means they were human, like us. And now, it's our turn to look again, to open the scrolls for ourselves, to sit at the feet of the Word, not just tradition. You were born for this hour. You were born to see clearly. And yes, it will cost you. That's not a threat, it's a reality. It cost me everything I thought I couldn't live without. My family, my name, my comfort. But I gained clarity. I gained truth. And most of all, I gained him. I've never known such peace, not in all my decades of rabbinical training, not in any academic achievement, not even in the rituals I held so dear. This peace doesn't come from knowledge. It comes from surrender. Surrendering the idea that we already have all the answers. Surrendering the illusion that our righteousness is enough. Surrendering our need to be right, and choosing instead to be real. So what now? What will you do with this? That is not a rhetorical question. It is the most important question of your life. You can walk away, dismiss this as delusion, tell yourself I'm just another voice lost in the wind. But if something is stirring in your soul, don't silence it. Follow it. Pursue it. Ask the questions. Make the time. Get alone with the Tanakh. Not the Talmud, not the rabbis. Just you, God, and the prophets. And ask him to show you. Ask him if it's true. Ask him who Yeshua really is. Because once the signs begin to unfold, and they already are, it will be harder to decide. Now is the time. Now is the window. If you're afraid, that's okay. I was too. Fear is not your enemy. It's your invitation. An invitation to courage. And courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to act anyway. I am not a hero. I am not a martyr. I am a broken man who saw the truth and couldn't keep it to himself. I speak not to persuade, but to plant a seed. What you do with it, that's between you and the one who formed you. But know this, the hour is late, and the invitation is real. The door has not closed. Not yet. I've given you everything. Not theory, not theology, but truth born from encounter. I didn't ask for this message, but I received it. I didn't want to leave behind everything I had built, but I had to, because the cost of silence was too high. I know many of you are torn. I know you feel the weight of generations pressing on your shoulders, but I'm asking you, not as a rabbi, not as a teacher, but as your brother, to stop running. Stop hiding behind tradition. Stop letting fear dictate what you're willing to see. The time of decision is now, not next year, not when it's comfortable. Now. The signs are not coming. They are already unfolding, one by one. Just as I saw, you will hear of discoveries under the Temple Mount. You will see respected leaders speak of messianic codes in the Torah. You will witness strange events at the Western Wall. And when those things happen, remember this voice. Remember this message. Do not dismiss it. Do not delay. Seek him while he may be found. You were created for this moment in history. Your soul knows it. That tug you feel, that's not emotion. It's eternity calling. If this message stirred something in you, act on it. Don't just move on with your day. Open your Bible. Read Isaiah 53. Read Daniel 9. read Zechariah 12, and pray, God of Abraham, show me the truth about Yeshua. That one prayer can change everything. Don't wait for your rabbi to say it's okay. Don't wait for the world's permission. Truth doesn't need permission. It needs a willing heart. And if you're ready to go deeper, don't walk alone. Join this community. Stay close. You're not the only one waking up. Subscribe to this channel, not for me, but to stay connected to truth. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the updates and confirmations as they happen. We will walk through the signs together. We will study the Word without filters. We will seek Yeshua, our Messiah, the one our prophets saw, the one our hearts have longed for. If you're ready to leave behind empty religion and step into revelation, this is your place. Follow Jesus. Follow truth. Follow life. Don't just be informed, be transformed. Leave a comment below. Tell me what stirred in you. Tell me where you are in your journey. Let's talk. Let's wrestle together. This space is not for judgment. It's for awakening. If you've had dreams, visions, questions, share them. You're not alone. You've never been alone. You've just been waiting for someone to speak the things your soul already sensed. This is your moment to speak back. My dear brothers and sisters, I don't know if we will meet in this life, but I hope to see you in the world to come, not as strangers, not as skeptics, but as family, united in truth, clothed in light, standing together in the presence of our Messiah. Until then, I will keep speaking, I will keep warning, I will keep loving, and I will keep waiting for you to say, yes, yes to Him, yes to truth, yes to life. This was my last message, but it doesn't have to be the last time you hear the voice of God. Keep seeking. Keep questioning, keep reading, stay close to this channel, share this video, start the conversation, and above all, choose life before time runs out. I love you, I truly do, and I believe in the calling over your life. We'll talk soon. Until then, Shalom.